welcome to my season 4 review vid for Bates Motel. Disclaimer, just as I set my camera up and everything, they decided to start mowing the lawn around here and it's kind of loud, so if you hear that, I'm very sorry. Okay, I promised to do this video and I just really haven't gotten around to it yet, and I'm excited because I could talk about Bates Motel all day. This is going to be a little more of an overview video of the entire season. It's not going to be so much about specific particular moments. If you would like me to do a top 10 list for Bates Motel moments in season 4, just put in the comments, okay? So let's get started. The first thing that I want to talk about is basically I want to talk about the king of this show, the king of everything. I mean, oh my God, Freddy Highmore. You could not tell me that there is a more underrated actor on television. Like, you could try to make a case for whoever you would make a case for, but I probably wouldn't believe you because he is just so phenomenal, and I feel like so few people, one, know about the show, but also don't know how amazing Freddy Highmore himself is. He can play such an amazing range of, and I will say characters, even though it is technically one character, but it is, there is a sweet and very charming Norman that we met in, let's say, the first couple of seasons, and he, in my opinion, Freddy Highmore's portrayal of that Norman was so fucking amazing that it was necessary for the show. We all know that Norma has a blind spot. That's an understatement, right? When it comes to Norman. But we also kind of needed other characters, Dylan, Emma, Romero, whomever, to also kind of be charmed by him for him not to be locked up, well, you know, in the past. And I think that's a testament to the writing and a testament to the portrayal of Freddy Highmore, that he makes you feel bad for him, like, all the time. At least I do. There's a lot of times where I'm watching the show and I'm like, oh God, Norman's doing something horrible and this is horrible. And then he has like a super vulnerable moment and you're like, oh God, I feel really bad for him. And it's like, oh, folks, that's how brilliant Freddy Highmore is. He does the, you know, sweet and charming kid. He does the jealous, like the in-between Norman, which is kind of like jealous and, to be honest, kind of a twat. And then there's the full-on Norma and the blackout Norman, and it's just, he plays the spectrum of this character so well. It's just amazing. What I thought was interesting is whenever you look at a specific season of Bates Motel, there's a different Freddy Highmore. There's a different Norman. In this season, he was very calculated. You could tell that this was kind of the season where he said, the villain, you know, well, maybe he didn't say that to himself, but we're seeing him do very kind of calculated things. Him getting out of that insane asylum, or I guess it's technically not called an insane asylum, you know, getting back home. It was calculated, you know. He did that. That wasn't the sweet Norman that came out sometimes. That was him conning his way out to get home, to stop whatever business was going on over there. That is when we're starting to see him make very specific moves to get what he wants, and he is very good at that, which I think he gets from his mother, let's be real. But I will say the scene that stood out the most, okay, there was a few, especially in the finale, but I'm gonna say another scene that stood out to me when it came to Freddie Highmore's performance was the flashback rape scene when he was talking to his therapist and he got that, that scene was so powerful in a lot of ways, but I thought Freddie Highmore's performance in telling it was amazing, but also it kind of showed a little bit of why their connection is so deep, in my opinion. I thought that was a very big clue into that. I guess from here I'll go into like a couple things that I wasn't the biggest fan of in this season. I wish Norman didn't spend as much time as he did in therapy. I understand that it was very important to the plot, of course, but first of all, when he first got in there, I was like, how is he ever going to get out? I thought it was crazy. I was like, you know, his therapist is definitely seeing problems, and like, what is happening? Or how in the world is somebody going to be like, okay, he's fine? Like, especially seeing as we kind of know in general he's going to get worse as time goes on. But I was really kind of interested in that, but at the same time, I felt like it took a while. There were a few episodes I felt like in the middle where it was a lot of him getting therapy, which I guess was a good thing, and a lot of, you know, them establishing Normero as a couple, which I didn't particularly really mind that, but it seemed like they were dragging a little bit in the middle. The other thing that I'm going to say that I was not the biggest fan of this season, and Dilemma fans, don't come at me, please. I'm so sorry. I love Dilemma. I love them together. I totally agree with the fact that they're kind of the only two fucking sane people on the show, and they should stick together, if anything, right? I agree. But they were so underused this season. So underused. I literally, when there was like a Dylan and Emma scene, I felt like I was falling asleep, really. And that was really mean to say, but like, it's kind of true. It was a little bit like, oh, they're gonna say that they love each other, and like, okay. And, I think Dylan is an amazing character. I think Emma is an amazing character. And I just felt like they were packing up that house for like, God knows how long. But let's talk about the scene with Emma that I particularly really loved this season, and it was her, I swear, the thing about Emma is that she is the sweetest character like ever, and her little scene that she had with Norman before they went Christmas tree shopping, I thought was so, just the sweetness of that girl that just comes out of Olivia Cook is just amazing, and the bond between her and Norman I really, really love. Not in a romantic sense, but I've always felt like she might be the one woman he would never try to kill. We'll see, you know, going into season 5, right? But yeah, I just thought that scene was really kind of great between the two of them. Dylan, I felt was so very underused. Oh boy, I really don't. Okay, I'm gonna get into this, but I don't want any of you to hate me. I love Dylan, all right? I felt there was a sense of him not really being in the family, which is a good thing. We don't really want him there. At the end of the day, we want him far away, and you want to go to wherever you want to go, like, please leave, because, you know, if you stay, the chances are higher of you dying. I'm aware of that. But I felt like he seemed to be a little judgmental about how things are being handled for someone who was never there. Please don't hate me for saying that. And don't misconstrue what I'm trying to say. And so I always felt like Dylan was having a really difficult time trying to make up his mind. And rightfully so. He has a family that are so involved in each other and not him that it's hard for him to really make a deep connection. with them. But this is how I'll put it. I was in denial about Norma's death for a few reasons, but one of them was the fact that I felt like she didn't get a ton of time with Dylan. They had that big blowout scene before she died. That's very true. But I felt like they didn't have a ton of scenes together this season, and there were a couple. It was normally them fighting or being a little back and forth with each other. But I just felt like there would be a little more closure. But I guess the closure of that relationship is her, really being honest about the fact that Norman is her number one priority, which is really sad for Dylan. I am very interested to see what happens. I do think that it's possible for him to find some sort of closure with his mother, even though that she's dead. And nobody's telling him. Like, why is nobody telling Dylan? Like, come on, guys. I hope Romero just gives him a call. You're like, just so you know, your mom's dead. I don't know. I also was kind of upset that first of all, we didn't even barely saw Dylan in the finale, but his quest of figuring out who Emma's mom's killer, who it is, he knows it's Norman. Like, deep in his head, he really does know it's Norman, and he's positive, and it's crazy. I felt like it kind of just didn't really come to fruition. I felt like that would be a big contention point of the season, seeing as the season started with the death of Emma's mom, but I guess that's something that's going to come back next season. I hope Dylan and Emma get used a lot more next season, because I just felt like there was a lot of, though both of them had fairly significant scenes, they really didn't bring a ton to the show this season, basically. All right. But that being said, I do understand that this season was purely, you could really kind of tell that the storyline this season was Norman is jealous, Norma is starting to be happy, and the tragedy happened. It's no secret, if you watch my reaction videos, that I am a big Normero fan. I don't particularly, just for people to not really get twisted, I don't particularly care what their relationship is. I like it when they're together. I like it when they're screaming at each other. I like it when they're fighting. I think Nestor Carbonell and Vera Farmiga have some of the best chemistry in TV today, for sure. And again, I could give a crap if they're kissing or punching each other. I really I just love scenes with the two of them. I thought it was fairly obvious at the end of last season that Romero was going to be the boyfriend in question that sends Norman over the edge. He was. I liked the lovey scenes. I like seeing this couple happy, but to be fair, I feel like I more enjoy the scenes where they're kind of playing cat and mouse with each other in the previous seasons than when they're just like happy and sweet. But I do know that the show is trying to establish the fact that, like, oh, these people are really happy and it's all gonna come crashing down and be horrible. Props to Nestor for such an amazing performance this season, especially that scene where he finds Norma dead. Lost his shit, and it was very well done. Okay, so now let's talk about, first I'm going to talk about Norma's death, and then I'm going to go into talking about Norma in general. because I get a lot of shit for liking her, and I want to just talk about it. So it was funny. I felt very bizarre after watching the episode where Norma died. And this scene was so well done. I was a little taken aback because I did think there were some loose ends with her character that were not resolved yet. However, the scene was impeccably done. The scene, I think, embodied literally everything that the show tries to accomplish. The show has a sense of giving you chills without the shock factor, really. I'm just going to try to explain this. And more about the suspense and the emotion behind it. None of us are surprised when we see Norman killing Norma. It's not like, you know, the Red Wedding or anything like that. You know, it's literally, we know it's going to happen. It's the premise of the show. That eventually he's going to kill his mom, who did everything in her power to save him. And that's the tragedy of it all. I liked that they had that sweet moment together, that her last real memory of being alive was a sweet moment with Norman. And it's all kind of very ironic that he's the one that, you know, kills her in the end. The music that Mr. Sandman, and especially because that's the song that they played on the piano together back in season 2, I mean, oh my God, so brilliantly done. And the way that she kind of went peacefully, let me know what you guys thought about that, the fact that she didn't die violently, I think was very suitable to their relationship, and kind of his very strange way of having them stay together forever, in a sense. Let me know what you guys thought. Were you hoping for a more violent death for such a significant death? Or were you thinking, like, you know, I definitely liked the way that she went in that whole sequence. I thought it was very well done. But I'm interested to see what you guys think about how Norma went. I absolutely cannot wait to see what happens next season. I think there's a lot of things oh my God. Okay, so I think that there's a lot of things to accomplish, but I think they definitely can do it. Now, for those of you who thought I was being unrealistic when Norma died and thought that I was just like super upset about it, like, you know, I was upset about it. I love Norma. I think that she brings her character, not just Vera Farmiga as Norman's delusions, brings so much to the show that I was very upset that I was going to have to last an entire season without her, to be completely honest. But I do know that it's the nature of the beast. But I also think that nobody really knows when they're going to end the season, the series, I guess, at the end of season 5. What's the point? You know, they did say that Marion Crane will be coming in season 5. I've heard rumors of that, so that'll be kind of interesting and exciting. I hope that the ending of the show is that infamous shot of Norman, like, wrapped in the blankets in the mental hospital and says, you know, never gonna fly. I think that would be a great way to end it, the ending of Psycho. But maybe we'll go further. Maybe we won't go that far. You know, it'll be very, very interesting to see where we're gonna go from here. Let me know what you guys think down below. Where you think that the show is going to end. What do you think the last shot, let's do this a season in advance, what you think the last shot of the show is actually going to be. All right, So I'm going to talk about Norma for a second, and you can't be surprised. Okay, so I could talk about Norma for a really, really long time. If you guys want me to do a whole video on Norma or Norman or Dylan or Emma or Romero, let me know, because I would. Because I think the reason why I love this show so much is that these characters are so in depth, and they all have issues. Even Emma has some issues, all right, people? They all have issues, and it's an exploration into the psyche of all of these people, and I love it. But I get a lot of grief. I'm very sensitive about this stuff right now because I get a lot of grief in a lot of my reaction videos for a lot of the shows that I do for liking particular characters that maybe aren't the best characters, but in my opinion, I will say in my opinion, the most interesting characters. I get a lot of shit for really loving Cersei on Game of Thrones more than some really good characters that I don't think have as much depth, and I feel the same way about Norma. I think Norma is so brilliantly written and just wonderful in general. Like I love Emma, but like as like the female characters on the show, I love the depth and craziness of Norma. And yes, I want her to survive because I want more scenes with her. I want that amazing acting and that amazing chemistry with almost every other character on the show. And I feel like I'm misunderstood when it comes to certain characters like that I like those characters. And yes, I want them to survive and keep going because I want to be entertained longer. It's really not that much deeper than that. But let me talk about actual reasons why I do actually like Norma, as well as the fact that I just think she's very entertaining. She is. Vera Farmiga is amazing. She needs an Emmy. Like, can we campaign? Can we start a campaign for Vera Farmiga to get an Emmy? Same with Freddy Highmore. Let's start this right now, can we? To me, there was something amazing about the fact that I felt like Norma was a very emotional character. Obviously, you guys know she's always screaming or crying or whatever. But she was also really strong. There's a stigma in a lot of characters that if you're emotional or if you're really feminine, that you're not a strong character. And there's probably going to be quite a few of you in the comments saying like, Norma wasn't strong. Like if she was strong, then she would have. I'm saying in general, the fact that of what she went through, the fact that she had this illicit relationship with her brother that I don't think at the time she knew was bad. Then it got weird, and then he raped her. And then, you know, she gets beaten by her husband. She's getting moved from man to man in order to try to keep her son safe, and they're treating her like shit. She gets to White Pine Bay. The first guy she meets is like keeping Asian sex slaves in the basement and tries to kill her. And then, you know, there's just over and over again, she is being, I think, very abused by particularly men. Which is why I was such a big fan of her and Romero, because I felt like Romero was always kind of like the guy who never was either a burden, like her sons, or, you know, and I don't mean, when I say a burden like her sons, I don't want you to take that the wrong way. I don't mean that they really, but she had a lot to deal with her sons, and, you know, or all of these men who want to use her for sex. And the fact that she wasn't in a straitjacket at the end of all of that, I thought was insane. And I felt like she was a strong character. I thought she was emotional and she had pain and she was real. She was so very honest with the fact whenever she was upset, you knew, if that makes sense. And I felt like, in a weird sense, we all know she was very delusional when it came to Norman. We all know that that was going to be her downfall. and especially that scene with Dylan really solidified it. But to me, I felt like she really embraced who she was and was a damaged woman. And we're all damaged people, aren't we? I don't know. I always got a weird sense of inspiration from Norma. That crazy, batshit crazy lady gave me a weird sort of inspiration to life can really kick you when you're down a lot, and you can keep going. It did lead to her ultimate demise, you know, her blind loyalty to her son, but I just kind of wanted to say that, and hopefully you guys slightly know more why I love Norma so much. Anyways, guys, let me know what predictions you guys have for next season. We have quite a while before it even starts. So I think I'm going to do a video. I'll do a video for predictions whenever, like in a year, when the next season is going to start. It's going to be a very, very long time from now. But yeah, let me know what you guys are hoping for, what you liked about this season, what you didn't like about this season. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.